भारत में निर्दोष लोगों का खून बहाने का एक ही अंजाम होगा, विनाश और महाविनाश।
पार्लियामेंट सेशन चलेगा, उसमें बहस होगी, तो आपकी सोच क्या है, पाकिस्तान में एक्चुअल में क्या हुआ, आपने क्या किया, और मैसेज अच्छा जाएगा देश के लिए।
भारत माता की जय।
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Operation Sindoor has hit a pause, but the Prime Minister is charging forward. He's rallied the troops earlier at the Adampur Air Base. We'll put out those images on your screens. This happened just earlier today. He's celebrating the historic strikes in Pakistan, much like the country. Going a step further, the Prime Minister has also warned Pakistan of annihilation. Annihilation, he's also used the Hindi word. He says Mahavinash, if it doesn't mend its ways. That is the warning to Pakistan. The BJP has been out in the streets. They're igniting the streets with the Tiranga Yatra. We'll see if we can put out also those images. They are flaunting this triumph. And what is the opposition doing? The opposition is firing back. The opposition is questioning the ceasefire's timing. And also, remember the US here claiming the sole credit because they used a particular word. What is that word? Mediation. After a brief lull as expected, it is back to domestic fireworks. And that is the story we are keeping our focus on. That on one side, you have the Prime Minister's warning of annihilation for Pakistan. And on the other side, you have a ceasefire versus this domestic crossfire. Without wasting time, I quickly want to introduce our panel of guests. As I will say good evening to Advocate Arshpreet Khadial, who's representing the Congress. If we can also have them on our screens. Charu Pragya is going to be representing the BJP. Sajjan Kumar, I see him there, is a political analyst, and also Major General R.C. Padhi, who's a defense expert, is with us. And we are just waiting for both our political experts to join us in just a moment. And as that happens, let's also put out our straight questions. These are questions we'll try to find an answer to during the course of the entire show. The first big question, as you have seen the entire conversation revolving around, what about the US? Is the US, ladies and gentlemen, right now overstating its role? Why the silence? The government directly hasn't addressed what the US has said, and that is why that question. This brings us to our second question. Is it a fragile ceasefire? But how long will it sustain? Can you trust Pakistan? These are again obvious questions. This brings us to our third question now, that is up on your screens. Is the center guilty of avoiding opposition's questions? The opposition says this is a government not putting out the facts. Is that true? We'll ask the BJP and the Congress also in just a moment, for which you also have the fourth straight question. Is the Congress right in asking those questions? Or is this plain, simple politics? Who's playing politics? Who's muddying the water? This brings us to our fifth and the final straight question. You have the BJP's Tiranga Yatra versus the Congress's Jai Hind Yatra. So, ladies and gentlemen, think of this. Competitive nationalism. Both the parties doing this when the country has achieved this feat. Is this the right time? Right time for competitive nationalism? That's got to be the question that's got to be asked. And because I do still see only Sajjan and Major General R.C. Padhi with us and not our political representatives, I see Charu there, but we'll also wait for our Congress spokesperson to join us in just a moment. But Charu, tell me, is it the BJP running away from the questions that the opposition today is asking, or the Congress is guilty of playing politics, Charu?
Deepthi, good evening. And let me begin by saying Jai Hind Ki Sena. You know, opposition is allowed to ask questions, but since the day Pahalgam terror attack happened, our opposition has actually not taken the side of India. They have been speaking in the same tone and tenor that Pakistan uses. So much so that their statements up till now have been circulated in Pakistani media, have been quoted in Pakistani parliament. Do you remember that incident of a toy fighter jet, the Rafale with the Nimbu Mirchi that happened? Atrocious, terrible. That is the way our opposition has been behaving. And what did you want us to do? Send an RSVP to Pakistan before any of this happened? Or start debriefing everyone before the mission is over? So, like previously, we would have compromised the mission. So, I very firmly say this. There is one war which is being fought at the borders, which our military is fighting for us, and they're doing such a valiant job. At the same time, there is another war that all of us as Indians need to fight, and that is the information warfare. And we are all a part of that, Deepthi. We cannot run away from it. Did you see how united the Pakistanis seem, even when they make their tall claims that they have bombed a port in Bangalore? Little do they note that there is no sea in Bangalore to have a port. But the point here is they speak unitedly in one voice for their country. What is wrong with my country, people? I do
You're
not
saying
understand.
there is something wrong with the opposition in the country.
And
I will
no,
let the opposition.
Let me finish.
Yes,
Let me
Charu,
finish.
Charu, give me a moment because, you know, Arshpreet has just joined us. He's representing the Congress on the show. And my plan was to go to Arshpreet first because that should have been the first question, Arshpreet. You're raising a lot of questions. You know, why so many questions and why now? You're looking at the Prime Minister saying that this is the final warning going into Pakistan. If Pakistan does not mend its ways, it will have to face total annihilation. Arshpreet, is this the right time for politics?
No one. Kindly allow me a minute uninterrupted.
Yes.
First and foremost, we salute our armed forces. They have given a befitting reply to Pakistan. Number two, we have, ever since Pahalgam attack, we have always asked for a united house, a united response. Therefore, the all-party meeting was proposed by us. Special parliament session was proposed by us. Mr. Modi skipped it, went for Bihar campaign rally. Nevertheless, we have again proposed a special parliament session so that the country could be included through their members of parliament and one befitting response be prepared. Because, you know, at the end of the day, the Bharatiya Janata Party needs to tell us a few things. Number one, USA has appeared as a big brother who's mediating between India and Pakistan. Before us, US President on X announces a ceasefire. Then we announce a ceasefire. Then ceasefire violations are done by Pakistan. Now, the fact of the matter is that is what the president of US said before Mr. Modi spoke. He said that if India and Pakistan wants to do trade with us, they will have to have a ceasefire. Otherwise, there will be no trade with us. Is this what the stand is? Is that what the terms and conditions to the ceasefire are? So our first question to the BJP is, did US itself involve itself in the ceasefire agreement, or was it India that asked for it? Number one. Number two, we also want to know at the same time. 1 second, allow me to complete, please.
Yes,
allow me to please complete.
Arshpreet will take another 30 seconds, Charu, to complete his point. Then you can respond to him. Yes.
Thank you. So number one is that, and number two is that US also said that we will now help resolve the Kashmir issue. So have we opened the gates to Kashmir issue as well to the US? Number three is that people were recalling Indira Gandhi because of the things we did in 1971 when we had Pakistan surrender. We all remember how Indira Gandhi secured an IMF loan which was of more than $5 billion despite US opposition. And in 1965, how our army went at the doorstep of Lahore and made Pakistan surrender, and a message was conveyed. India cannot be messed with, Indians cannot be messed with. Today, the country is asking, when our army was doing a wonderful job, the fitting reply was given to Pakistan. Why this ceasefire? Why did we not bring Pakistan to its knees for having used drones, for having used missiles, for having killed 26 brothers of ours?
You've raised a lot of questions. You've raised a lot of questions.
Yeah.
It's only fair I get Charu to respond. Charu.
Very quickly, when I was speaking, when Arshpreet came in, I was talking about the information warfare. This information warfare is very important, Deepthi, because this is a completely separate front.
No, Charu, I want you to respond to these pointed questions that have been raised by the Congress, please. Because I have two more guests who haven't spoken yet.
Deepthi, will you please stop interrupting me and let me finish speaking the point I'm trying to make?
Please come to the point.
In this information warfare, we see the opposition of our country firing for the enemy nation. In this information warfare, what we see today is that everybody who's remembering Indira ji today, and she's our former Prime Minister, my respects to her today. But did you not remember her after 26/11? Where were you? Where were you after 26/11? What did you do? Did you even remember Indira Gandhi once? Did you say that this terrible incident has happened in our country? Terrorists have stuck deep within our financial capital and we are going to avenge this? You couldn't even open your mouth. You wrote letters after that. You wrote letters after that, Ashpreet. And please, today, if you're going to sit here and question everything while the operation is still on, you're not on India's side. If you must be a troll, and I said this, Deepthi, and I've been saying this on X again and again. If the people of India have blessed you with a voice that is being heard, use it for your country at least today. If you must be a troll, go and troll the Pakistanis.
No, Charu, there's no point. There's
your
no point becoming personal with anyone. See, this is about the country. Everyone stands with the country,
And what are
the
you
government
doing?
of the day.
And
But
what are you doing when your country needs you?
Another 30 seconds, Charu.
Allowing-
I want to ask you one pointed question. Are you saying
Yes.
that whatever the opposition is asking, whether it is about the role of Donald Trump, whether it is about them speaking about, mediation, he used the word mediate. He also, US has also used the word neutral place, broad issues. And this hyphenation again and again of India and Pakistan, are we okay with this? Is the government, is the BJP okay with this?
Absolutely not. And let me remind all our viewers, but especially Arshpreet, that when our DGMO spoke to the Pakistani chief, it was done at 3:15 p.m., which was said extremely clearly in the press briefing that was done by our armed forces. If you had just bothered to listen, it's unfortunate that you pick up a tweet and look at the time of that tweet. You will not do that, but you prefer to believe every other narrative except the one which is being given to you by your own armed forces. My point here is, and very clearly I'm asking this, when Modi ji does not mention any foreign interference, why are you going on and on about it? It's
So
not
is the US lying, Charu? Is the
Trump.
US lying? Should we call out the US?
So absolutely, and we are doing that.
Okay.
Do you know today, absolutely today, the WTO has been sent a letter which has increased duties on steel and on aluminium. We are talking the language that US understands.
Fair enough. Ashpreet, just 10 seconds. The US is lying. The government has made it clear, they say, then why is the opposition continuing to run with that narrative?
And
Stand with the
My
country,
only
no?
question-
Ashpreet.
Explicit in the language we use.
My only question to the BJP is, please hear the question and please try to respond it specifically. Did we involve the US for the mediation, or did USA involve itself?
No, US
Please
is not involved is what Charu is saying, no, Ashpreet?
So did the US not announce ceasefire before us? Did Donald Trump not say that if you want to do trade, then you'll have to do a ceasefire? If you do not want to do trade, there will be no. If you not do a ceasefire, there will be no trade. Is that not a fact? Number two, people want to know what the standard
just
is.
presented?
Okay, one by one. Charu
People-
and Ashpreet, let's do one thing. Both of you pull back. I've given you the initial few minutes to, bring out this political crossfire, but the story is far bigger. And this is unfortunate because we are looking at such war of words, gentlemen, Sajjan Kumar and General R.C. Pari. When we look at what's been happening, General Saab, why don't you tell me whether, an entire offensive like India has mounted, the entire Modi doctrine that is now out in the open, that we do not succumb to any nuclear blackmail, talks and terror do not go hand in hand. We've ensured we strike deep into Pakistan's heart. Should this all not just be about India? What is this US, angle that the opposition and a lot of other people, especially in the Western media, want to parrot right now?
Well, one thing I would like to tell you, in the 4 days of war, the Indian military has demonstrated its firepower, and we used only maybe less than 5% of our capability. If we have got that capability of in 4 days, and if we are given more time, we can definitely crush the entire terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan. So that basis is already gone. Now, when we are at war, so there are two things which is very important: the military power and the power will of the nation. And will of the nation is always represented by the political party which is in power. But behind the political party in power, I think this time the entire nation was standing behind, including the Kashmiris. I underline the word Kashmiris. First time the Kashmiri population, they were emotionally and otherwise fully behind the cause and behind the Indian government and the armed forces, which is a very, very welcoming step. And secondly, what you said about the foreign things. The problem is that in the era of globalization, there are superpowers are there, and there are some powers. They think that they are superpowers, like the China. They think that they are a superpower, which is not, because India is much more powerful. And the good thing is that the Chinese weapon systems weaknesses exposed this time.
Exactly.
because earlier, because their weapon system was not tested earlier. Now it is tested, and we have demonstrated that we have got the Indian capability as far as the military hardware are concerned or military firepower is concerned, is much superior. Similarly, the drones which we got they got from the Turkish is nothing in comparison to ours. So I think from that point of view that the foreign interference, even if somewhere there, and if somebody is supporting Pakistan, we are much in a better position in dealing with our adversary Pakistan.
Okay, I think that's a very fair and a nuanced point, sir, that you have made. But Sajjan, I have to ask you this. Is this the right time to play politics? Do you think anyone in the country today is playing politics? Or you believe that this is the moment when the country has united and we have seen a united response versus Pakistan and terror?
Yes, precisely. I mean, this is the time wherein we do see a sense of entire country coming together, and particularly in the aftermath of the defense personnel's briefing with credible and tangible evidence, and that is indisputable. This is one. And given the professional integrity of our defense forces, certainly it has a very entrenched impact. Second, certainly political parties and politics is always an indispensable. This is always the side effect that will happen. And various parties trying to score brownie points. Remember, after 71 war, Indira Gandhi was lauded as Durga even by the opposition, and it paid, the political dividend also to the ruling party of the day. So that is sort of a default benefit. You don't have to endeavor for that. This is one. And opposition party is trying to pick hole. But it's a question about the timing, right? Now, the unfortunate aspect has been there came a bizarre tweet by President Trump, and we do know the nature of tweet that President Trump is in the habit of making. US official policy and President Trump then do not go together in terms of one being quite serious, other being casual. Two, we do know the Tulsi Gabbard and others, their initial tweet was unconditionally in support of India, calling out Pakistan and Islamic terrorism, etc. So therein you cherry pick one tweet, and that shows that you have a confirmation bias, you have a conclusion to prove, and all you are waiting for one opportunity to, hold the entire discourse by its tail and spin it to your benefit. That was unfortunate, because this is not about the BJP versus the Congress war. This is about the India versus Pakistan. So you do believe the Indian defense personnel briefing, do they leave any doubt that our objectives was not achieved? Does it leave an iota of doubt that what was aimed and the kind of credible destruction that has been claimed is under any doubt? So if Indian defense has made it, personals and their briefing has made it categorically clear, what is the point of always holding on to something, right, that is always casual in nature? And I'm talking about President Trump's tweets. If you start taking President Trump's tweet that seriously, then you have to take all his tweets seriously, because he is in a habit of making bizarre claims, right? And many a times his tweets do not represent the official policy of the US. He has a way of playing games on the Twitter. So this is one. Second aspect that is about the kind of this political acrimony going on between the opposition, and we do not see a united opposition. You see someone like Owaisi and AIMIM kind of. Now, one can say that this is something complete kind of unexpected, but that really showed a sort of kind of a pleasant surprise that everyone wanted to see, and everyone is welcoming despite their political differences.
Yes.
But since Balakot strike, this tendency of trying to, bring disrepute, trying to sort of playing it down and create a sense of doubt is something certainly it gets utilized. It doesn't confine to your national audience. It gets picked up by various medias, various countries.
Exactly.
And this is something that the prime opposition party should be extremely careful about.
I think
So that's
Sajjan
a
is
generic
trying
sentiment.
to show the mirror to our netas, because our netas, netas being netas will only play politics. Harshpreet, do you regret this? And do you have a confirmation bias? As in, does the Congress have a confirmation bias? And would you want to respond to what Sajjan has said?
See, number one, we want to make it crystal clear that we stand with the army, we stand with India. When it's a matter of our citizens that are being killed on our land, on our soil, it was but needed. The reply that our army has given ought to be saluted, ought to be commended. What we are saying now is that after that, there have been ceasefire violations after the ceasefire was agreed to. And the president of the US is saying this thing that if you do a ceasefire, they will be trade with you. If you don't do a ceasefire, there will be no trade with you. How does this sound to the world? What image is the US trying to convey qua India that we can be? Is he trying to basically say that we were forced into a ceasefire? Is he trying to insinuate that?
I don't know whether he's trying to insinuate that or the Congress is wanting to insinuate that. But because you raised that question, Harshpreet, I have limited time and I want Charu to respond to that right away. Charu.
Deepti, the objective of this entire mission was not to bring Trump in the middle, like Harshpreet is trying to insinuate here. One, our objective was fully and completely met when we bombed 11 air bases of Pakistan, and our armed forces presented that with concise, precise proof, because they remembered what happened during Balakot. It was the likes of Harshpreet and his party which were raising questions on our armed forces also. The second point here is when our Prime Minister has clearly taken action.
Please, one by one. Yes,
yeah, and secondly, like I said, I was talking about the press conference where it was made very clear that DG ISPR called Indian DGMO at 3:15 p.m. It was said concisely, precisely again in the press meet. Where were all the people of Congress? Tell me. And most importantly, Preeti and Deepti, I've been saying this again and again. Your house is on fire. Your country is at war. You cannot sit and just support your country.
We'll do trade or else we'll not do it.
Has India said
I don't understand. Like Sajjan said, that is this an India versus Pakistan or this is a BJP versus the Congress?
Exactly. And India has not said it.
Somewhere to say that we stand with the country a little, but still we believe Donald Trump. Why? Because what he's written possibly might suit you, though you're not listening into what the government is saying, Harshpreet, because Charu has just responded to your question.
Now
hear me out.
I'll tell you something.
Harshpreet, hear me out.
Okay, Charu, hear him. Just 10 seconds. Yes, Harshpreet.
Yes, thank you. See, what we are saying is, if Donald Trump is, we also say this, that India would be governed by our government, by our Prime Minister, not the President of the US. Why does he have to announce ceasefire before us? Why does he get to say all of these things? And when he's saying it, if it is wrong, why are we not rebutting it? Why is Mr. Modi not saying anything about that? That what Mr. Trump is saying, we do not agree with it. Why is there no clarification coming from the government?
Okay, now I've heard you. Deepti, can I please respond?
Okay, Charu, just another 5 seconds, no? Because I need to give the final words to the other two gentlemen who've been very patiently listening to this tutu meme going on.
All we are saying is that the government ought to give clarification as to what do we have to say.
Charu is responding, Harshpreet. Listen to her, please. 5 seconds.
What we are saying is, thank
no, 1 second. Harshpreet, please. Your country is at war. You want your Prime Minister to drop everything because you have asked a question. Deepti, I do not understand how you're allowing this debate to continue off an issue which is of such utter importance. Why
now because we've seen the politics. We've seen the politics here in the forefront, Charu.
You are counting my seconds and you're allowing the
Charu, take your 5 seconds and respond, please. Take your 5 seconds and respond.
Every time I open my mouth, you allow the Congress.
Go on, please, Charu, please. It's an important day, please. Let's not trivialize this conversation.
It's an important day and I expected you to put a full stop.
Go on,
what he's trying to say when I was speaking.
Go on, please.
He prefers.
Harshpreet, please pull back. It's a request. Please, you've raised questions. Listen to her, please.
Carry on. You want to fight against your own country.
No, we are not fighting against the BJP and the Congress, please. Please, it's a request, Charu. You're wasting time, Charu. Please respond to that question.
Deepti, I'm disappointed in you today, greatly disappointed in you, because on an issue like this, you have allowed Harshpreet to speak over me and I've been polite and
Harshpreet, I do not understand. Why do you want to do this? If you're raising questions, it's only fair you listen to the other person, right?
Even on a day when we are discussing our country, you have allowed the opposition to run away with their agenda of hate. I'm disappointed in you. I'm saying this for the first time on air, Deepti.
That is okay, Charu. You can still take your 5 seconds before I close the show. Please respond.
and I will take my 5 seconds,
Yes,
and
go
I
on.
apologize, sir. It is important this is said. Arshpreet prefers to pick up a tweet of a person who shoots off the gun, who's a loose cannon, over the narrative his own country is setting, over the statement of his own DGMO, and he's proud of it. Shame on him. At a time like this, when he should be
Hey,
rallying
one
behind
second.
India,
Okay, no,
if you want
Ashpreet,
to be a
no
global
crosstalk,
be a
no
vote against
crosstalk.
Pakistan.
And Sajjan and General R.C. Paddy, I apologize, sir. Only for want of time, I'm not able to come back to you. But I think the country today has seen where is this conversation going. Charu and all gentlemen, I thank you for responding to those questions that we had set up. Let's also quickly get you News Night's parting shot now. So as tensions continue to simmer between India and Pakistan, remember Narendra Modi's scaled up warning to Islamabad has reverberated. And back home, you have the opposition that continues to sharpen its attack, in fact, finding gaps in government's position and stance. Even when time is uncertain, time is fragile, time is dangerous, there is that one thing that never pauses, one thing that never ceases, and that, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, is politics. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.